Okay, I'll just give people the opportunity to join. Okay, so we do have a chat function. So if anybody's have any difficulties hearing or anything like that, please do pop it in the chat. I do have two of my colleagues that will try and assist or try and alert me to let me know if the issues might end. But anyway, so I think it's a good time to begin. So welcome to our data analytics and social statistics webinar. So data analytics and social statistics is a flexible, multidisciplinary course designed for professionals across multiple fields, including education, health, and business analytics to public, private, and non-profit sectors, such as charities and NGOs. So whether you have a background in data analytics or are looking for a big data course to gain this knowledge, this course offers a thorough grounding in this exciting field. Incorporating data collection, analysis, and presentation with acknowledgement of big data and machine learning, this course will ensure you are at the forefront of developments in social data analysis. So this is a part-time online course. So the duration is 27 months part-time. It's flexible, so it's designed to fit around your professional commitments. Applications are open, so please do apply now. If you've got any questions about the application process, that's what I'm here for. And you can contact me at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. I will be sending out a follow-up email after this, so please don't panic if you've not got pen and paper. You'll get my email at the end of this. So to talk through today, it's quite a laid-back session, so please feel free to ask any questions throughout. We will get to them at the end. So if there's anything on your mind, just pop it in the chat or the Q&A. We'll be covering both, and we will get to those at the end of the session. So we're going to start off with introductions. We're going to do a bit of a unit overview. Again, this will be a brief unit overview. There is information on our website about these if you would like to revisit these. And then at the end, like I said, it's a bit of an audience Q&A where you can get involved and ask us anything that you would like. So I'm Phoebe Sargent. I'm a course advisor. So you may well have spoken to me. I sent the invitation out for this before. I'm here to answer any queries pre-start of the course. So anything to do with the application process, general queries, anything I can't answer, I will pass on. And we are joined with Alex Cernat today, who's our course director. So I would just like to pass over to you, if that's okay.
Hello everyone. Yeah, so my name is Alex Cernat. You can call me Alex. So I'm the director of this program, and also I'm a professor in methodology and social data science at the University of Manchester in the social stats department. And I helped develop this course. My background is in survey methodology and social statistics, so I do a lot of work around how best to collect data, be it survey data and also kind of new forms of data like social media data and sensor data and things like that, and looking how to analyze it and how to improve the quality of this kind of data. Oh, so you might already know some of this and some of the information is online, but just I want to mention a little bit kind of the idea of this program. So we have 5 modules that are mandatory, and then we have a 6th one that is optional. Plus we have a kind of separate training and dissertation at the end. And I think this program is kind of unique because we try to bring together some of the skills that we found are really important for people working with kind of social data science. So we wanted people to learn about programming. So the first course is about programming and visualization and data cleaning. So these are kind of fundamental skills for people working with data. Then we have some courses on statistics and modeling. So introduction to statistical modeling, data science modeling, multi-level modeling, and the last 2 optional courses. All of them focus on kind of best models that are currently used in the field. And then another thing that I think is quite unique to this program is data collection. So there are lots of programs in data science, but a lot of them don't really talk about data collection and data quality. And this is really important in the social sciences. There are lots of different types of data, but some of them are really bad, and you really need to understand how to collect data, what are the issues, how best to deal with these things. So we have a module just on that, looking at survey methodology, so how to collect survey data and also other types of data like social media. So I won't go in more detail. If you have questions, we can chat about it in the Q&A. But I just want to kind of highlight that there are these kind of three core skills you're going to get with the module. So programming, especially we're focused on R, which is a very popular open source software, statistical modeling, and then we have data collection and data quality. And then everything is kind of focused on research, so it's very hands-on, and the dissertation and the research skills and practice, that the training that comes with that, that's focused on you applying all of this knowledge and doing real-world research. So you'll do lots of things working with real data, and then at the end you'll work on a dissertation that applies this to something that is actually useful, hopefully, to the real world. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So prior to this, I sent out in the invitation, there was a link for people who might want to pre-submit some questions, some people that might not be able to attend. So as what I'll do, I'll stop sharing my screen, if that's okay, and we will start with the questions that people have pre-submitted. So anybody who has any questions, who's here, who hasn't pre-submitted it, feel free to write those in the chat and the Q&A now. Okay. So let's find the first question. What career benefits will I gain from studying this master's?
Sorry, could you repeat the first part?
What career benefits?
Okay, yeah. Excellent, thanks so much. So yeah, when we just had a class and with the current cohort, and it was really amazing to see the mix of students that we have. So there are people that work for charities, people that work for government organizations, departments, and we have people working for international organizations for private sector. And basically in all of these different fields, people are working more and more with data. And this is kind of the main skill that people need to make decisions. So often you might want to make a decision about a marketing campaign, or maybe where to invest, or collect data about a program, impact evaluation. All of these depend on data. So the skills that I mentioned, so working with data, so computer programming, things like data cleaning, data analysis, the ability to do research and ask and answer research questions using data, all of these are really important skills that are used in almost any field now. So I think these are really important and gives you flexibility to work with people from different teams and different backgrounds.
Brilliant, thank you. So the next question is, does the course focus on real-world social issues or mainly technical statistical theory?
Yeah, so all the courses have used real data, and for some of them, we tell you what data to use. Maybe we'll ask you to use the British Attitude Study or the European Social Survey or some social media data. But for other assignments, you can choose your own data. So you can choose something you're interested in, and the same is true for the dissertation. You can choose the topic that is relevant for you as long as you apply some of the things you learn in the master's program, and it's actually research. So you have a research question you can test and validate using data. Then you have the flexibility to apply this. So it's very hands-on, a lot of it using real-world data from different fields, so criminology, sociology, political science. So there's it's very hands-on. Most of it is about working with real data or solving real problems. Again, I mean, some of it is academic, so you might have to, for example, criticize a research paper, and that the paper could cover different topics. Some of it might be more hands-on, like looking at a policy decision.
Perfect. Thank you. This leads on to another question, kind of similar. But can I use my own professional or research data for assignments or a dissertation?
Yeah, so like I said, in principle, so there's some assignments where we tell you, we're kind of more prescriptive, so we tell you what data to use and what to do with that. There are other assignments where you can choose your own, right? So I know maybe for longitudinal data analysis, you can choose whatever data you want as long as you use the methods that we have. And the dissertation is really up to you. So you need to apply your skills as a researcher to answer kind of a real world question. There are some things, so you need to make sure that it's you have an appropriate research question, that the data can answer that question. As it's a little problematic to collect data as part of the masters because you need to get ethical approval. But if it's data that already exists and you have access to it, in principle, you could use it for assignments and dissertation.
Brilliant, thank you. And how much programming is involved, and is it suitable for beginners in coding?
It is. I mean, the first module is just about coding. So we're taking people from kind of no background and we teach them how to do this. So from basic things, how to import data, how to clean it, how to visualize it, how to create reproducible reports using them. I would say it can be challenging if you don't have any background, but yeah, in principle, it is designed to go from scratch. And we do this first. So when you go to do statistical modeling, for example, then the programming shouldn't be an issue. So you kind of build on what you do in the first module and then go to the next one with the programming. And you use programming overall because when you work with data, often, you need to clean it, analyze it, you need to use code for that. So you're going to basically for all the assignments, you're going to use some kind of code to do the analysis and write your reports.
Brilliant, thanks. And how flexible is the course, and can I study alongside my job?
Yeah, I think most people taking this program would be working full-time or part-time. Again, you would need to be able to put some time aside. I think our recommendations are like 20 hours a week. This might vary, so depending on your background and depending on the topic, some things might be harder, some things might be easier, but you need to be able to put some time aside every week. But it is, I think most students in our program, they would be working. So I think this is kind of what is normally done. Yeah.
I think this is more a generic query that we get at Study Online at Manchester. But what would you say an average week during term time? So, you're doing a module. What would that look like for somebody that is working? How is it presented to somebody?
Yeah, so the courses are quite flexible. We actually give all the materials in advance so the students can plan in advance what they're doing and they also know what are the assignments. So in principle, my recommendation would be, when you start a module that will be, let's say, 10 weeks, you can at the beginning have a look and see what are my assignments. Let's say usually you have 2 or 3 assignments and you need to put some time aside for that. Then every week there'll be some reading and some videos and some interactive activities you might need to do. So again, I would say you probably want to put a few hours aside to do some of the videos and the reading. And then for all the modules, we have a weekly meeting with the professor that is live. So ideally, you join that, and then if you have questions, you can talk directly with a professor. So those are the activities. And I think people that are successful are able to plan this, like they are able to put in their calendar some time aside every week to do this, where they say, okay, today I'm going to watch the videos. This week I'm going to spend 2 hours for my assignment. And I think it's a big advantage of having all the materials available to you because you can have a look and see, how much you have every week. You see what are the deadlines, and then you can make a plan and think, okay, maybe I have weeks where I have more free time and I could actually cover 3 topics. And I have a week that is very busy, and maybe then I don't do anything on this module. So you can kind of plan your own time. But I think this is a challenge doing a program online. You need to manage your time. This is like an important skill, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And how would everybody be? Well, how would the assessments happen? How is someone assessed at the end of the module?
Yeah, so there are 2 types of assessments. So there's some assessments that are not graded. So the idea is to just give you feedback. So for example, typically every week you would have some quizzes, and there would be 1 or 2, we call them formative assessments, where you just get some feedback, or maybe you get peer feedback. And these are not graded. These are just to help you along the way. And then there's some assessments that are graded. And typically we try to have at least two, so we don't have one assessment that is 100%. We try to have different types of assessments. So so it's kind of a little fairer and also maybe a little less overwhelming. You can split the task over different assessments. So one example could be, so I'm teaching now a course, the course on survey methodology and online data. One assignment would be to propose a survey design. So you have some weeks of content about different ways to collect data, and then you need to make a proposal on how to do that. And then the other assessment is to get a research paper and criticize it based on what you learn about what a good design is. In another course could be you learn some statistical models, so you need to apply that to some data. So let's say somebody says, use the European Social Survey to answer this kind of research question using this kind of model. So it might be a research paper or kind of a report. So typically each course would have two assessments of different weights, and then the activity would vary, but often would be a research paper or something like that. Yeah.
Perfect, thanks. Right. Back to the pre-submitted questions. I hijacked that a bit. So what career opportunities? So we've had what career benefits. That was the first question. Now this is what career opportunities could this course lead to?
Yeah, so if you're looking to either within your organization or in a different organization to go towards a more data-centric job, then I think this is really good. So maybe you have some skills in a particular field, let's say in marketing, or you work in a charity or government office, and you see that people are using more and more data to make decisions, then you could use these skills to kind of go in that direction, right? So whenever there would be a job where they ask you to have some kind of knowledge about data or working with data, that's something you can do. Sometimes even in positions of leadership, this might be useful. So often, let's say you manage a team, but you want to be able to talk to the people in your team or to be able to know what to ask them to do. So it's useful actually to have some of this knowledge also to manage other people if they do the analysis for you. So you are able to talk to other teams that are actually doing data analysis. So I would say any field where either you need some kind of programming, working with data, making decisions based on data, then these skills would help you get those kind of jobs. It's not a guarantee, but these are really important skills for those kind of jobs.
Brilliant, thanks. And the last pre-submitted question, what software and tools will I need, and what software and tools will I learn?
Yeah, so for the programming and the stats, for the most part, we use a software called R. So this is an open software, so you can install it on your own computer. This, I think, has emerged together with Python as the main type of statistical programming used in the real world. We decided to focus on R because this is more used in the social sciences. And also, if you get very good with a statistical software like R, then it's much easier to pick up something else like Python. So a lot of the work will be you working with R, and a lot of the statistical analysis will be based on that. And then other things, you'll need to write reports maybe in Word and do some presentations maybe in PowerPoint or something like that. But I would say, yeah, R would be the main statistical software you're going to learn. And I think a big chunk of what you learn is also transferable. So it's once you learn a statistical software, it's much easier to pick up something else like Python afterwards.
Right, so we've had some good questions submitted whilst you've been talking as well. So somebody's got 3 questions, which is great. So do modules cover Gen AI? We've done that in the second question, so yeah.
Yeah, so we have a module on kind of machine learning, and I think there's a little bit of that covered in the machine learning course. Again, it's a little interesting with Gen AI because you could use it when you do programming. So let's say you are using R to do some analysis, you can use Gen AI to help you create code that you're going to run or help you write up reports and things like that. And I think this is often how people use them. But for some of these skills, I don't think you need a full module on. I do think a lot of the skills that we cover, so for example, if you learn how to use R, it's very easy to pick up something like, oh, I can use APIs and I can call ChatGPT to do something from R. So I think a lot of the skills that we covered could be combined with Gen AI. The closest we have is the machine learning module, and there are models that are kind of related to Gen AI. But yeah, I think in principle you could use some of those tools throughout your master's.
Brilliant. So the other question was about how modules are assessed, but you've answered that. And then I'm looking into a career as a behavioural data scientist. Will this course be relevant and support my career development?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when we developed this program, we're thinking, okay, what kind of skills do people need now to work with data? And I mentioned that, well, you need to be able to program, use a statistical software to clean data and do things like that. So we covered that. And you need to be able to understand data to see what's the quality, what you can do with that data. So we covered that. And also we cover lots of different types of models that you could use. So I would say that we covered the main skills that you might need. That being said, when you get a job, maybe they don't use R, or maybe they use a slightly different statistical model than what you learn in the program. But the idea is if you have this foundation, it's much easier to, like I said, switch to Python or learn a new statistical model. It makes it much easier to switch because all the organizations have their own frameworks, the own things they do. But if you have a good foundation in programming and statistics and understand how to work with data, then it's much easier to adapt to different environments.
Thank you. When did the course launch and have you had any graduates yet?
Yeah, so we had the first cohort finishing already, and now because it's part-time, we have two cohorts at the same time. So the first cohort finished, and now the second and third cohort are doing the program. So the second cohort is slowly going towards the dissertation part, and the first cohort just is doing now the survey methods course. Yeah.
I've actually just spoken to some of the graduates from this course. So we're hoping that they'll speak to some of you who are watching this. So if we can get that arranged, I'll let you all know so that you can actually speak to some of them because they're very interesting and they've got very positive um, experiences to draw on from what they've been speaking to me about, which is lovely. Um, can you tell me a bit more about the backgrounds of current students on the course?
Yeah, I think I mentioned this already, but yeah, I think it's a really nice mix. So both, I don't remember exactly the number, but there's a good chunk from the UK, but it's very international. So we have students from all over the world. And also we have, I think, a very nice mix of people from private, public sector, charities. So it's people with very different backgrounds. So we have, I don't know, I'm just thinking of the last meeting I had with students. So there was somebody working at the statistical office, somebody working for a charity, people working for large international organizations, people working in the private sector. So it's a mix of people from very different backgrounds.
Does the university assist with internship or job placement? And what about international students?
Yeah, so maybe you know this a little better. So in principle, the students that are doing the online program, they have access to all the services that in-person students would have. So for example, we would have a department that helps you with your career and get advice like, I don't know, your CV, job application, things like that. I'm not sure we have explicit program for placement. I don't know if you know anything about that.
No, I don't. I think are you asking, just type in the chat, are you asking specifically within this course? Would it be arranged within this course or assisting you with it outside of this course, but through the university?
Yeah,
Um,
so There's kind of, like I mentioned, more generic help that the university offers with the career services, but we don't have like explicit placement as part of this program. Yeah.
Perfect. And yeah, and after graduating, so after graduating from the course, would this, because they're part of this course, I'm guessing, would there be any assistance or,
Yeah,
well,
I'm
I mean,
actually not sure
networking,
how
isn't
that
it?
works. Yeah, I think there are some services you get as alumni of the university, but I actually not 100% sure how that works.
I think one thing that I have noticed, because I'm not just a course advisor in this course, so study online, we've got quite a few online part-time courses that we cover, is the networking that you get from doing these courses. Graduation's in person at the university as well. So not only are you talking to these people for 27 months, you actually get to meet them in person. So you do build a really good network that would assist you to, further from graduating, in the professional world. Our career service are there to assist you, but you do have to be a student. So unfortunately, any career advice pre being a student with us, they wouldn't be able to offer. I'm just going to check if we've got any questions in the chat as well. Let me have a look in the chat. No, that's good. I've got a question for you, Alex, if that's okay.
There was another question about discounts. I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Oh, okay. Are there any discounts? So anything, so fees and finance related, is so specific to the individual as well. I'm not sure actually off the top of my head whether this course has any specific discounts. My colleague has linked in the page for that. We do have bursaries, but they're so specific to the individual person, where you're from, your background, and things like that, that I wouldn't be able to say. You can book a consultation in with me though at Study Online if you did want me to go through them with you and have a look into them in further detail. Let me just double check whether there's any other questions before I jump in and ask you something. Okay, I've got a question. What's your favorite unit? What do you enjoy most teaching on this course?
Yeah, I'm slightly torn because there are two modules that I kind of usually teach and I work on. So there's the one that I'm currently teaching, which is the survey methods and online data, because my research is about this. So a lot of my research is looking how to collect data, issues with collecting data, what biases data have, and how to deal with that. But I also, my other hat is I work a lot with longitudinal data. So we have a module on multi-level and longitudinal data, and I did a lot of the work to develop that module. So I think those two are the main ones that I really am interested in.
I've just triple checked. There is a 10% early application discount on this course. I didn't want to didn't want any legal comeback by promising something that there wasn't, but there is. So if you do put your application in before 30th of June, there is a 10% discount. But yep, just quickly, does anybody have any other questions? But I mean, Alex, is there anything else you think is relevant or you'd like to share from teaching this now for, well, it would be 27 months now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think the program is quite unique. This combination of learning programming, stats, and data collection, and also the fact that it's very hands-on. So every module you work with real data, trying to answer real research question. I think that's really kind of unique. And yeah, I'm excited to have people in the course. So it was really fun to see students now in the survey methods class and see, how diverse they are and all the cool things they're doing with data.
Brilliant. So, well, I think we'll come to a close there. If anybody has any questions after this, please email them on. We're always here to answer any questions that you've got, assist in any way that we can. Anyone who's watching this back on YouTube, again, same applies to you. Send us an email at studyonline@manchester.ac.uk. Just going to triple check. No, I think that's it. Yeah. So thank you so much for attending. and we hope to see you next year. Thank you.